Is it alright if I just ask you a few questions about your experience? Probably should only take a couple minutes. That you are being recorded right now, just so I can, if with your permission, post this on YouTube for my film account. Um, I was gonna make a small little kind of almost documentary about this because this case is pretty underground, and as in terms of popularity, I kind of wanted to get this spread out because this was a pretty interesting encounter you had here.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty well withdrew myself from the public for years, and the other phone number that you contacted me through is my wife and phone, and she is kind of a protector. She helps me filter the bad people, and I call them, out of in this world. And I didn't realize that we had so many people that would, they, I don't know, they get their kicks with mistreating other people because they've misfortunes that they've had, and she helps me to make sure that that I just don't have to go through a lot of the stuff.
Right, absolutely, I understand that. Because something like this, it's very strange, and I know a lot of people are probably they're probably very what's the word? Very not they don't it's a hard subject to believe, but I'm completely open to this subject. I personally, I absolutely believe what happened to you, and I'm very sorry for the times you went through because of what happened, because what I've read on the internet, it sounds like you went through quite a bad phase from that town.
Well, not only that town, but the people that were supposed to be your friends are my friends. The only thing that I found out is that I couldn't trust anyone.
Right.
And I withdrew. I ran. I went places, to get away from it. And, sometimes there's no hiding. I moved to a county about 30 miles from where this happened. And I bought a place in a remote area to where that, my closest neighbor was like a mile away. So, I mean, didn't want to be bothered.
Right.
And I raised, me and my wife raised 5 children. 3 of them were adopted children, and 2 of them was my biological children. And, I turned out to be a person that I never dreamed that I would be.
Right.
Because of what happened.
Yeah.
It made me hard, but it made me strong as well. And I came close to, losing my sanity, but my wife and God kept me from losing my sanity.
Right.
And, that's the only thing that kept me going.
Absolutely.
And, finally I accepted the fact that I can change some things, but there's a lot of things that I can't change.
Yeah.
Biggest thing is I can change is me.
Right.
So, I went to different meetings and I had learned through my experience what they were teaching.
Right.
And I said, well, I'll be darned, I picked this up on my own. Then nobody have to tell me about it.
Right.
And so, I went through some very hard times. And like I say, I ran from it. I moved to different states, and it just didn't help. It didn't work. I came back. I came home.
Right. I understand that. I haven't had anything like that happen, but I understand seeing something like that could really change you forever. Now,
It did me. I used to be very understanding, caring person. I went to church every time the church doors were open, and it changed my life entirely. I still am a believer in a life after death, and I believe. And at one point, I didn't think that there was, any other life source in the universe, but that has really changed.
Yeah, I understand that. Now, if you don't mind, I'm just going to ask you a few questions about exactly what happened that night, if it's not too sensitive for you.
Well, some things I probably wouldn't, don't want to answer. Wouldn't like to answer.
Right.
But there's a few things that I will share.
Alrighty. Just a quick question. How long were you a police chief in that town of Falkville, if I'm saying that right?
I was hired in January of 1973, and this all come down in October the 17th in 1973.
1973.
And then, of course, I had so many things going on that it was somewhere around the 1st of November. I resigned and I left. I got as far away as I possibly could get.
Right. I did read some of that online. They had discussed in an article of that you had left the station. The next question, exactly. When if this isn't too, you don't got to answer this. I'm just gonna ask it, and you don't got to answer it. But when you had first saw this object in the road, what was your initial thought that what it was? Possibly a person?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I said, this is an idiot.
Right.
And so, after that, things just started was so strange. It was not, this wasn't real. It wasn't really happening, but it was happening to me.
Yeah.
Why me?
Right.
But my initial thoughts was, yes, it was a person pulling a prank.
Right. And could you say roughly how tall the metal man was?
I would say probably about my height, and I'm 6 foot.
Okay, so he was a size of a regular man.
Yeah, maybe a little bigger.
Oh, okay, all right. And as the material, it looked I've seen the photos you took on that camera. The material looked pretty reflective. It almost looked like a foil of a kind. When you saw that in person? Again, if you don't mind me asking, what would you best describe the material to be?
At first, I had no idea what it was. My initial thoughts was maybe aluminum foil.
Right.
But, there was no pieces around there after it was all over. So I don't know what to believe at that point.
Right. And you said it kind of moved, not human at all in the way. It kind of moved like I'm guessing it had very structured movements.
Right.
So.
Like a stiff joint.
Okay, so no bending of the arms or legs. It was more of just
no.
No.
Whenever I think about it, when I was a child, I used to watch a movie, Lost in Space.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, the robot that was on the movie, it kind of reminded me of it to some extent. Of course, there were no rubbery arms or nothing like that.
Right. And as in terms of the feet and the hands, you may have not even processed that or gotten a good look at it, but did it look like it had any like fingers or just? I mean, from the photos, it looks like it had some sort of I don't know, like apparatuses on the end of the arms, and it almost looks like it's wearing some sort of boot or. I can't really tell, but I was just wondering if
something similar to mittens.
right,
You know,
yeah,
it was not like that there was a hand or you know some or maybe some sort of a glove. I have no idea. I mean, I didn't get that close.
right. And what kind of camera did you take those photos on? Is it a Polaroid? Is that what it was? A Polaroid camera? Yeah.
Yeah. I think what they called. I think it was a Polaroid 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's an old one.
Yeah, we got to where that we started carrying cameras with us because when we apprehended people, we'd always take a mug shot.
Right. Another question: did you say anything to it or yell anything at it before you had uh, taken the photo?
Yeah, uh, I said something to the effect, "Howdy, stranger,"
Right.
and there was no response at all. And I didn't push my luck. At that point, I reached in and I uh, turned the blue lights on the patrol car and seen how reflective the material really was. And then when I looked back up, it was moving away from me. And so I said, well, I'll just chase it down and run, or if I have to, run over it. And that didn't happen either.
Right. Can you describe how it turned? And I've read online it kind of almost hopped or like sprinted away.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, I didn't see the actual turn
Right.
because I had been over putting my camera back in the car and laying the photos on the console, and at that point I had taken all 4 of the photos that I took, and it was kind of like it was
almost like
away, but it wasn't moving like I would move.
yeah, almost like
person.
like skipping or something like that, kind of throwing its legs out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like it was had springs on its feet or something.
Right. It's very strange. Um. So I've read that there was an antenna on top of the head of it. Is that true? Was there some sort of object?
No, I didn't. I never seen that until I looked at the photos real close.
Right, that there was an object on the top of its head.
Right. There was. I mean, it was like some kind of a helmet of some sort.
Right.
And on top of it, there was like a remote control antenna or something.
Right. And there was no face on the helmet either. It was just kind of just a material.
Nothing that I could make out.
Right. Yeah.
But the funny thing about it is sometime later that there was a woman came forth when there was some people investigating it and told that she was the one that made that phone call to me that night.
Yeah, about the landing.
I don't remember what her name is, but she came forth and told some people that were investigating it, a guy by the name of Roy Crossfield from California. He had came to investigate it, and she came forth and told him about it. And then 10 years, nearly to the day, I took those pictures. Somebody or something broke into my home, and those pictures disappeared. And
wow, the actual.
I don't have them anymore.
Right.
I didn't have a backup or anything, and they were in a safe place, but they came up missing.
Wow. So, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, nearly, and what is so unbelievable was nearly 10 years to the day that it happened.
Wow. So probably around 83 then.
Yes, it was in 1983. Matter of fact, I filed a police report in November, right around November the 1st of 1983. Someone had broke into my house and stole some stuff.
Wow. So did they steal anything besides those photographs, or?
Yes, there was two firearms that was missing. My service revolver. Out of all the guns that I had, my service revolver was missing, and a shotgun.
Wow.
And that's all that was missing from my home, and those pictures. And those pictures were in a place that didn't nobody know where they were at but me.
Yeah, that's very strange. When was the last time that you've actually, now the photos are online, I'm not sure, you may know that, those photos that you took, they are on the digital internet. I've seen the negatives too. When was the last time you've actually seen the photo on, has it been since that time, since you saw, not the physical photo, but just looked at the picture, what you saw?
It's been, I took them out frequently and looked at them for the 10 years that I had them. And then after someone broke in my house and my service revolver was missing, and then I went to get, one day I would check to, take a look at the pictures and discovered that they were gone. And I said, wow, that's really weird. The only three things that I had with me that night: the shotgun that was in the car, the service revolver, and those pictures. Wow. And all three of them came up missing.
Wow, that is insane. I believe you, though. I have no doubt that actually happened, and I have no doubt that I believe everything you said. So, if I'm young, I'm only 18, but if I was in that time, I would have been one of your advocates to say, hey, I know all these people are raised this way and they believe certain things, but there's a lot of stuff out there we don't know about. So
right, and I believe that too. Matter of fact, I've had some very strange communications with, I don't know what you call it, nature or the world or the universe. I've had some very strange things, and I've also lived through 3 events that I should have died from, and I've had the doctor to tell me, you should not be alive.
Right. Wow. Do you want to further any of that talk on those strange events, or would you rather just keep that to yourself?
Well, see, 25 years ago, I came down with a cancer.
Right.
And said that I had the cancer with like 18 years. And it was 2 enormous tumors, and I survived all that. Then the heart condition. They told me that my heart was doing some things that they had rarely ever seen before. and they finally got it fixed by putting, they didn't have to do heart surgery, but they did have to go in and dilate some arteries and put a pacemaker in. And then I had a triple aneurysm that they had to do surgery on, 2 of them at the same time. And each one of those things I should have never survived.
But you lived.
Well, like I say, I have had some strange happenings in the past 50 years since this has happened to me.
Right.
I've had some things happen to me that people would think, if I told them, they would think I was crazy, that I had lost my mind.
Yeah.
And I haven't lost my mind. It's just some strange things that's really happened.
Yeah. It's all about the perception, because we do live in a world with many things we do not know, so it's hard for others to perceive when something so strange happens to you. I understand that, but I'm sorry for those troubling times that you had to go through for such an event. But possibly it's destiny, possibly it's just what was meant to happen through your timeline.
Yeah, I mean, I've wondered many times, why me? But I've kind of had this voice that tells me all things happen for a reason.
Right.
And I firmly believe that. I believe that too, that things happen for a reason. And there's something, I don't know what it is, but just like whenever I became a workaholic, and after I had cancer, I had so many things that happened due to the cancer, and a year of chemotherapy that I couldn't work anymore. And I was wondering, why did this happen to me? Well, I raised 3 grandchildren for 9 years. I found out why that I didn't, why I was left here, raise these grandchildren. And now I've had 2 more grandchildren for 5 years.
Right.
So I've been raising children.
Yeah.
I didn't become a person of hatred like a lot of people thought that I would be, but I don't trust a lot of people.
Yeah, I understand that. The fact is that you've succeeded, even though you've been through those times. You've stepped up, and you have been the better person. And when people are they're criticizing you, their voice doesn't matter, because you know what's true, you know what's real.
Right. And there was times in my life that I did consider hurting some people, but then I decided better.
Right.
They'll get theirs in the end, because I firmly believe if you do something to someone, that it's going to come back to you more than what you done to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they'll get theirs in the end. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's true. It's karma.
Right.
Yeah. Now, one other question, not to change topics too rapidly, but you said a woman had called about something. Was it a sighting, or did she really say something had landed on her property?
Yes, she said that she owns property very close to some TVA power lines, and that there had been some strange objects unidentified flying objects around those TVA lines. And she said that night that there was a lot of traffic in the air under and around those TVA power lines.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's very interesting. So maybe they were interested in whatever those mechanical power lines were.
Right. And, I even went out there to where she was talking about, and sure enough, there was, I seen some strange things happen at those power lines too.
Wow. Like lights in the sky or something actually on.
I seen fireballs go to the ground from those power lines.
Oh, wow. That is very strange.
And I said, hey, I'm not supposed to be seeing this.
Right.
I don't know what's happening or why. So I left.
Yeah. And was that just around the time, or was that night that you saw?
No, that was a few nights later.
A few nights later. That's very strange. Yeah. That is very, very strange. Well, I think I've asked you all the questions I need to ask. Something I probably should tell you is that I am a short film maker, so I do small films. I actually do some westerns, but I was thinking about making a short film in somebody playing you when you were a sheriff back in the 70s. Now this is your incident, this is your encounter, this is your life. So if you have anything against that, absolutely I will not make the film. But I just think that something like this, so interesting, and you were treated so unfairly, that this needs to get out, and this interview needs to get out there.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter to me anymore. I'm over 70 years old now, and I'm not going to say what else could happen to me, because there is some things that can happen, but no, it doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, once I get this posted on YouTube, I will send you the link to the number I've called. Is this the number I should reach you at?
Okay, this phone that I have, this is my personal phone, so you could call me at it or get in touch with me whenever you want.
All right. Well, I will make sure to send you the link to the video so that if you wanted to watch it or go over it, I will be putting the photos of the Metal Man in the video. So I'm not sure if you wanted to look at that or not, because I know that's very very sensitive to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've learned to live with it. I haven't seen the photos now in nearly 40 years because they were, taken from me. So
right. But I mean, you do know they are on the internet, right? The photo, the negative, like the actual photos you took, or you can find them on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been told by several people, but I haven't went out of my way to look them up.
Right. Yeah, I understand that, because that would be quite a sight for something you haven't seen in so long.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of like let a sleeping dog lie.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I want to thank you so much for doing this interview, and I really appreciate your time. And I'm very sorry for how events unfolded in your life, but I do believe what happened to you is 100% the truth. I don't see any reason for a false or a fake story, because the way your life has gone about, there's a lot of authenticity to all this.
Yeah. Well, at first, my life fell apart, and just everything completely fell apart. And I went back to the bare earth with nothing but my clothes. And thank goodness now I'm not rich.
Yeah.
But I live a comfortable life.
Right. I understand that. Well, I really do appreciate your time, and I'll stay in contact with you, and I'll send you I'll make sure to send you the video link if you ever want to watch it.
All right.
Um, but I really do appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate you understanding the things that have happened.
Absolutely. There's a lot of like you said, bad people, skeptics. That's life. People they really don't understand. They don't process it, and when it's so serious to you, it's very frustrating. So I understand that.
Yeah, well, like I say, I learned to get over it. I mean, I don't hate because of it, but I'm a different person.
Right.
I know the people now that I can associate with and the ones that I need to leave alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Jeff, for your time.
Yes, sir.
All right, you have a good night.
Thank you, and you too.
Bye.
Goodbye.